All right, live and direct from the planet of Queens, New York. Soccer Senseis, Rodrigo Salazar, Elis Artunda is on assignment, and today we are joined by Jack Whelan from Le Ballon, a friend of the show. Jack, thanks, man. Thanks for coming out on the show today. You joined us from Paris, City of Lights, beautiful city. Been there twice. Second time I was there, we actually went to your pop-up, which kind of changed my life. You know, I was like, wow, these guys are doing it. They're doing it big. So please, Jack, tell us about yourself and tell us about Le Ballon.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you for letting me talk at you. Yeah,
By the way, Jack, can you see what I'm wearing?
I noticed that before. I was going to say it's a really nice touch. I've also sort of like tried to stay on brand as well.
Oh, there you go. I'm brand. You know, River Plate. You chat the quiz. That's my Le Ballon team, and the Velcrack, my Korean team. Shout out to Jin. All right,
okay.
Go ahead.
It's a worldwide thing now.
I'm telling you, this is what it's all about. I'm really excited about this, Jack. So go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, we started in 2014 as a bar. Basically, we had the space. My brother had the space. It used to be a very cool sort of bar cum nightclub for a few years in Paris, and it had been shut down by neighbours and police, sort of victim of its own success. And he wasn't happy, and some mates of his weren't happy about the fact that there was nowhere to watch football in Paris. You know, it's not really part of the, I don't want to say French, but part of the Parisian culture of sort of going to the bar to watch the games with your mates. You know, they'd rather buy a couple of beers and go around to Jean-Michel's house and watch it there and then go home. But us as English people, you know, that wasn't good enough for us, and we weren't prepared to watch the 2014 World Cup, you know, on a small television in someone's apartment. We wanted to be able to go and hurl abuse and then cry when England refused to win a match throughout the entire tournament. So I had this idea to put together a sports bar which was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, you know, took the sort of English, not taking itself too seriously kind of mentality. And we wanted it to be a place where sort of big fans of the game could come and watch and would feel like they're watching it with people who also sort of know what they're doing and know what they're talking about. But also people who weren't necessarily the biggest fans of the game could come and enjoy the moment, enjoy the atmosphere, hear a bit of a sing-song, enjoy the decor, and so on and so forth. And we were able to find this middle ground where, you know, you'd have the sort of like trendy, fashionable set of Paris, which doesn't exactly go hand in hand with sort of football fandom. So, you know, we had them come in, but we also had the guys who realised, you know, this is a bar that's actually run by people who know football, who like football, who want to watch the football, they want to talk about it, they want to try and create a little bit of a community. So that went well. And then as it got towards the latter stage of the tournament, we started getting approached by different brands to do little events, little soirees and things like that, sort of while the tournament was going on. And that got us to thinking, well, you know, maybe there's a future in this. Maybe there's a future in not sort of telling people or dictating, but trying to guide people in the way that sort of football for us always was cool and always was interesting, but in a way that it might not be perceived as such. So, you know, the notion that, you know, it's not cool to wear a football shirt in the street, or, you know, football, people who like football are hooligans or are uneducated and so on and so forth. And we're like, well, this just isn't true and it's not good enough. You know, football is culturally significant for so many different aspects of culture and for so many different reasons.
How did you start the league though? Like, did all you guys that started going to the pub together as a group? Did you guys, okay, you know, now we're watching the games together. Now let's start like a league together. Like, how did that happen? And I'm just going to give a little bit of background. You guys have like a league of, I want to call them creatives, and you have like different squads. Off the top of my head, River Plate, the Sluts. Who else? Damn. You have Atletico Madrid looking one. And each one is each one has a allusion to an actual team, but you guys are an actual team. So how did you guys get together doing that? Because I'm sure there's leagues in, the semi-professional leagues in Paris and in all over the world, but how were you able to get the creative community say, okay, guys, look, graphic designer, look, web guy, look, photographer, we're getting together, we're making a league, and for it to look like the way it looks now.
That's pretty much right as a description. So the league as it is 8 teams, about 120 players, and the vast majority of them are all from what you would consider creative walks of life. So sort of photographers, filmmakers, art directors, artists, authors, models, so on and so forth. And basically what had happened was we got to quite like this group of people that had started coming to the bar and from, doing similar things and liking similar things to us, appreciating the sort of artistic side and cultural side of the game, as well as doing very cool stuff in their real lives. And so as a bar, we had the notion of, well, what do pubs do in England? Well, they play pub football. The Dog and Duck plays against, I don't know.
The Fox and Hound.
The King's Head. Or the Fox and Hound.
Yeah.
Fox and Hound versus the Dog and Duck. And, you've got a weird sort of slightly bestial football match. And so we went around the bars, and there were cool bars in that neighbourhood, and we said, do you want to put together a pub football league? Your staff, you and your clients versus us, our staff and our clients. And the unanimous response was, why the hell would we want to do that? And we just didn't get it. We're like, why wouldn't you want to do this? This is going to be great, folks. And so it couldn't happen. So we had to rethink, and it was there that we had the idea of, and we had been inspired and influenced by the likes of the Fanatic leagues that have been running in New York and in Berlin and in London, sort of in 2007 in New York, 2010, 2009 there was one as well. And I'd done Gastown FC before, which was a thing that we ran in Vancouver with the makers of Inventory magazine, and so I already had like an introduction to this sort of slightly independent and creative football space, if you like, which was still very much a fledgling thing. But we realized that we had all of these people, and we told a few of them that we were thinking of doing this thing, and we took the idea of putting this league together to a particular sportswear brand who liked the idea. And they said, let's do it. If you can guarantee that these people will do it and you will have these people, then we will get on board. On the way back from the meeting, we got on the phone to these 8 captains that we had. And we're like, right, lads, tomorrow meeting in the bar. We've got something to tell you. And it was like, oh, well, I can't make it. Well, you're not going to be in the league then. Oh, I can make it. Yeah, I thought you would.
Yeah.
So, we got them all there, gave them a presentation. So you got a week to come up with a name, a badge, a kit, a hymn, a style, everything we want, everything from you, and we will make it all.
Okay.
And so, it started like that. So we've got,
nice.
As you're saying, River Plate, Atletico Paris, Bled FC. Bled FC was the only one that existed before we started. They were the only ones that were allowed to sort of keep a name that predated the Le Ballon League.
Amazing kits also. With them, they do some amazing stuff like with kits.
Nam's very talented as a designer, and he's massively passionate as well. So it just means he continues to put stuff out. But we had seen, and again, we had seen it with Fanatic, and we liked the way Fanatic worked, but there were things that we wanted to do differently. One of the things was the brand names. And so, Fanatic would do Team Acne, Team Saturdays New York or something like that, and it would all be very much related to the shop or the brand that these people were representing. We wanted those people, but we didn't want their brand name, because with the brand name becomes an affiliation that we don't necessarily want, but it also brings constraints that we didn't want them to have. So, you know, we had the guy who was the head of menswear at Dior. You know, the guy is necessarily an excellent designer. He's head of menswear at Christian Dior. We didn't want him to have to create something which had the Dior name on it, maybe, or had to sort of follow certain guides, and then that would have to be validated by the men upstairs at Dior and all the rest of it. It's like, no, we don't want that. We want you. We don't want your brand. And then he goes, well, what's the guidelines? There are none. Have fun. And that's how they ended up with a team called Pub FC, which was you know, completely inspired by the English notion of going to the pub.
You would never know that that's the guy from Dior. Like, I'm surprised, you know.
Yeah,
that's cool.
You'd never know. You'd also never know that, you know, that a fashion designer who's head of menswear at the largest, like literally the largest clothing company in the world, you know, they're bigger than Nike, you know, would be a tough tackling German centre back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that what sort of you would spring to mind for sort of fashion design?
Jack, before we go on, I just want to make sure everybody can go on and check you guys out. LeBallon.com, I believe, is that the website?
LeBallonFC.com.
LeBallon FC, that's 2 L's, right? LeBallonFC.com.
Yeah.
Your online shop is up and running again, right?
FC. Huh?
Your online shop is up and running again, which I'm happy about.
The online shop's back after a sort of year-long hiatus.
Yeah. Definitely, guys, check them out. They're also on Instagram. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but definitely on Instagram. Check them out. They do amazing work. You know, and cop some gear. Look at this. I mean, seriously, all their stuff is amazing. Seriously. I'm like, I almost got the River Plate jersey. I waited too long, and it's not in my size anymore. So that's my holy grail.
I was gonna say, I think we've got it left in small, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm a large, unfortunately.
But I mean, those shirts were ludicrously limited. I mean, you know, people will look at them and go, you know, it's expensive for a football shirt, and they're right. It is expensive for a football shirt, but you know, these are things that we made them. They were individually made by hand. You know, they were printed by me, and you know, there were 30 of them. 22, 23 went to the players. I think a couple went to wives and girlfriends and mates, and you know, there were 5 or 6 left. So you know, there weren't masses in the first place. Now, Atletico Paris, we had one shirt. 75 of us, we didn't have a single shirt left over.
Jack, tell us about the online shop, because I'm trying to keep the timing, just because for Instagram videos it's going to be under 15 minutes. So I definitely want to make sure that we talk about your pop-up and the one you did in Paris for the Euros, which like changed my life. I was like, wow, I am home. I am in heaven. I can't believe you guys are doing this. You had Season Zine, you had some other publications there. You had a customized jersey stuff going on, and you had other like you had scarves. It was amazing. Talk to me about that, please.
Yeah, it was too much. We all ended up being very ill afterwards because we just sort of ran ourselves into the ground. But yeah, obviously, big sort of football movement in Paris during the Euros in 2016, and we had the idea that everyone sort of, by this point, you know, the 2 years after we had started, people had started getting on board with this sort of like football. You know, you see the word culture bandied around a lot right now, and this whole sort of like football culture thing kind of annoys me these days. But people have started to get on board with it. There were people all over the world that we were connecting with and making friends with, and for us, not enough people knew all of these people. They were excellent. You know, they were great designers, people that used to work for Levi's who quit their job so that they can go and make sort of embroidered football shirts. You know, it's crazy, but people were doing it. Like, this is great. And we wanted to have a space in the heart of the Marais where this could be celebrated. You know, sort of where we were was in the heart of all the big, some of the big galleries in the heart of Paris. You know, we were just around the corner from Thaddeus Ropac, for example. Gallery Perrotin was across the road. So you know, we were right there. So we're like, well, why not? Let's do an art gallery. You know, no one's done an art gallery for football before. Let's have a go at that. So we commissioned friends of ours and other artists that we knew would be on board to make artwork for it. We got artists to make patches for each country that were in the Euros, which were then twisted in the style of an art movement or an artist that came from that country. So, the Spain badge was in a surrealist form, the Italian badge was in a futurist form, and so on and so forth. So we had, I don't know, plus, like some of the patches you're wearing, like the league teams, other brands that, we know and like City Boys and Nivel Crack and Liga Tokyo and people like that. I think in the end, with that and all the heat transfers that we made as well, the sort of names, numbers, little bits of sort of flex that you could print onto the shirt, I think we had over 200 customization elements. We had 8 different blank templates to do. So we had Yorgo and Co, who made our badge, as the art director of Vanity Fair, runs Black Row Skis and Intersection magazine. The guy's a sort of graphic designer on an industrial scale. He's a tour de force. He did one. Angelo Trofo, who's been doing the kits for EA Sports lately, and working for Rafa now. Like, he did some. Jason Lee, that guy Focoela, used to design the France kit in 2010. He made a couple of kits. That crazy Jorge Campos.
Focoela's crazy, yeah.
So obviously Jason he hasn't got any hair, but he let his proverbial hair down and went crazy with it. And basically what we wanted to show again was that all of these people, these artists that we had, these fashion designers that we had, all the magazines that we had, you mentioned Season, but I tried to amass every single one from around the world. So, I wanted Shukyu magazine. How many people came into the shop could actually read Japanese? Hardly any, but I needed it because as a design piece, it was incredible.
You want to see it, yeah. Where else in the world besides, the Asia are you going to get to see Shukyu magazine? I'm like, holy shit. I had never seen it. I've heard of it. I'm like, wow. I have it.
If you want to buy it, it's on our shop as well.
There you go. Seriously. Seriously.
On the online store. Buy Shukyu magazine. It comes with an English translation booklet.
Yeah, let me give a little, let's do a little PSA. Football culture, whatever you want to call it, like this movement that I see around the world, Japan, I see it in Korea, you guys in Europe running things, stuff that we're doing, stuff that's going on with Guerrilla FC. We're all very passionate about it, but it's great to like it on the Instagram, but you got to support also because if you want to see more of this stuff, you got to buy it. You have to support it with your dollars, with your.
I suppose that's true. I was speaking to Angelo from the Ringleaders the other day, and he was saying that he thinks there's probably about 150 of us in the world that are sort of doing this sort of thing, and we're actually all just buying the stuff off one another.
Yeah, basically.
So like I'm buying all of his stuff, he's buying all of my stuff, and it's like, is this sustainable? I'm not sure.
There's going to be a tipping point. There's going to be a tipping point where it's like, oh damn, the rest of the world's going to be like, oh wow, look at this stuff. Look at Focoela's jerseys. He just did one for Arsenal. I mean, he's an Arsenal fan, and it's like, and more people are gonna want to get that because they're gonna want that authentic football culture shirt or wherever we're calling it this week of like creatives making beautiful work around football. It's gonna be huge. So go ahead. Sorry, Jack. That's my.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and I think it runs the risk of disappearing. I mean, for me, one of the most important sort of reference points when I sort of first started getting into all of this, which would have been, I don't know, 2008, 2009, around that sort of time, was a magazine called The Green Soccer Journal, and it just doesn't exist anymore. Josh sort of ran out of time, ran out of money. He had sort of created the blueprint, and then other people took the blueprint, came in with a bit more money, and blew him out the water. The Green Soccer is still the best football magazine that there was, but it hasn't existed for 3, maybe 4 years now, and that's a real shame. So like things do run the risk of disappearing. Le Ballon, like the league, has been on hold for about 6 months now. We've not started the league this time round because sort of getting it organised and all the rest of it, if you want to do it with the level of execution that we want to do it, it costs quite a bit of money and requires quite a lot of effort, and if you can't sort of raise it, then you can't do it. You can't bankrupt yourself doing it. Unfortunately, I've not I'm not a sort of billionaire, billionaire. What are they?
Heiress, how do you say?
Philanthropist who's just sort of prepared to just give it away.
You just have the accent, though. I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sounds like he's wealthy.
Yeah, what is that about you Brits? You guys sound like, oh yeah, here's a euro.
Normally when I speak, you need subtitles. I just put it on for you and the radio.
But Jack, before we let you go, and we go on for years, because I mean this is such a big thing, and don't be discouraged, because I'm telling you this is going to get huge for everybody, and I think we always need to support ourselves. Like, everybody is on everybody's side, everybody's team. Doing the most important thing is a lot of beautiful work is coming out, and I think that's at the end of the day that's what's important, because even if I buy your shirt and you buy my shirt, it's great, but the rest of the public, if they see like, wow, I have to have that because that's beautiful, whether it's football related or not, that's when you hit the hat trick or whatever you want to call it. That's when you really start going and making some progression. But Jack, so tell us about yourself, like in general, like you are what is your team? Like, how did you get into the sport, and
So I mean, my Le Ballon team is River Plate as well. So thanks for backing me up on that one.
Well, my Argentinian team is River Plate, so we're going to be celebrating that Copa Libertadores.
This is mine.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
We will be so you and I will be celebrating this Libertadores title for about 20 years. My daughter will be hearing about it. It's nuts. It's crazy.
We actually had people, like, because we put one post up, of someone in the River Plate shirt sort of saying, River y nada más or something along those lines, and we got the amount of people that sort of like chimed in. It's like, how can I, sort of people in Argentina going, how can I buy this shirt? How can I buy this shirt?
Jack, just say el más grande one time in your British
exactly.
accent.
You're good to go. No, with an English accent, el más grande. But I can do
that's
it.
it.
El más grande.
As you guys would say, done and dusted. That's it. It's over. El más grande.
Exactly. But no, I was just always been a football fan. We had a goal in our back garden. I'm the youngest of four, so I was stuck in goal as soon as I was old enough to walk. Luckily, I turned out to be pretty tall. Otherwise, I think I'd have been furious if I was as short as my brothers and a goalkeeper. But at 6'4", I can sort of get away with it. I'm a Liverpool fan, so it's a good year at last.
Nobody's perfect, but okay.
Quietly optimistic / terrified.
I'm pulling for you guys. I'm an Arsenal fan, so anything to kill it to Man United, I'm with it. Go ahead.
For sure. I mean, it's going to be a very long 16 games, a very nerve-wracking 16 games. I don't think I've not had this for a while, because even when we nearly won it a few years ago when Gerrard fell over, I think even then it only looked like we could win the league sort of 2 or 3 games before the end of the season. And then we beat City and we got very carried away, and then Gerrard fell over and we got very sad. But no, this year, who knows? I think we actually look good and we look like we could do it, so that's all quite exciting. But no, so football's been me for pretty much as long as I can remember. My dad's a big football fan. The whole family's sort of big into football. A bit less so now, apart from me. But
all right.
It's always been that.
Cool, man. Jack, thanks so much for joining us all the way from Paris. We're New York City, 6-hour difference. It's the middle of the day in beautiful Paris. Go out, enjoy yourself. Everybody, please, thanks for joining us on Soccer Senseis. We've been doing some stuff with Le Ballon. Actually, again, I forgot to thank you, first of all, Jack, for having our shirt, our first creation at the Le Ballon pop-up.
Yeah, when we did our pop-up during the World Cup at
Stadium.
Cita, we had the Rakai shirt.
It was, dude, I ran to FedEx. I was crying. It was like a movie. It was like a documentary. It was like.
So I hadn't seen my phone, and then I checked it, and I got all these messages from you which I hadn't seen, and then I got into the shop, and there's sort of like a very serious man with a walkie-talkie saying something's been delivered for you. I was like, what the hell? Like, nothing's been delivered. I've not ordered anything. I was like, and we were just sort of like playing the whole thing by ear when it came to sort of running a pop-up store in, the equivalent of Macy's.
Basically.
and yeah, I sort of like had to go to this back room with him, pick it up. There's sort of like some nondescript sort of cardboard packaging in the back.
The package was ticking, tick tick. You're like, oh damn.
Yeah, exactly. And we weren't sure whether we had forgot to do something or we'd messed something up with like the protocol of the shops. But open it, it's a T-shirt. I was like, I've seen this somewhere before. Wait, hang on. So get it out. There's a little note in the bottom. It's like, Jack, I couldn't wait for your answer. So here you are. It's like, okay, cool,
dude. When number one calls, I'm like, yo, I don't care. I'll get on the damn plane myself. I'll take that over there, FedEx myself. But yeah, man.
I appreciated the forthrightness and the intent. It was good.
All right, man. Cool. So again, going back to this. Sorry, we're off track. Check out Le Ballon, 2Ls, FC.com. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. Check it out. They have wonderful product. Support football culture. Le Ballon is number one in my eyes. Just that's how it is. And once you see their stuff on Instagram, on their website, there will be no question in your mind, who's running things, basically. So again, thank you, Jack. We'll be talking soon. Don't hang up, Jack. I'm just gonna say bye to everybody. So just join us next week on Soccer Senseis and enjoy today's matches.